And I think the global successes, the countries with the best business environments and the highest standards of living show us that that's the right approach, not this, let's start closing down departments, to some degree the way Project 2025 wants to do.
I think David Pakman need to shut his ass up. That's what I think. I think he need to go on vacation and stop crying.
Yeah, oh, hang on. Camera's on it. Just a second. God damn. Come on. Okay. Okay, there we go. Now. Good. Sorry about that. What's going on, everybody? Sorry, I was laughing too hard. When I saw that clip today, I was like, okay, I got to include that one. That one's perfect. And I've never seen that guy before. I guess his name's Fang. Fang, I think it says is his name. I got to go back and check the rest of his stuff because he definitely doesn't seem to like David Pakman much. And that was some of the best advice I've heard for David Pakman in a long time. So yeah, that was, I thought that was an appropriate intro, especially for today. Because it won't actually just be David we're talking about. There is also one other person we're going to be talking about, which is somebody I've been neglecting to talk about because I haven't really, I had one clip, but I was waiting to use it, and then it just, like, it wasn't relevant, I was kind of worried I wasn't going to use it, but turns out it's the perfect time to use it because I don't know how this is possible, but it seems like every time I see a left-wing YouTuber or streamer or whatever, they sound dumber than the last time I heard something from them. Like, they sound even more desperately grasping at straws for some kind of anything they can use to say, like, don't worry, it's okay, everything's fine, or whatever it is, just to undermine, like, the Trump administration. You're going to see today with David Pakman in particular how absolutely desperate it is by suggesting two people that aren't in his cabinet, that he hasn't nominated for anything, that he has never said he was nominating for anything, that I've never even heard him talk about publicly much, especially recently, that have no plans to be in the administration at all, maybe talk to him, but that's about it, are signs that MAGA is, those two people fighting are signs that MAGA is got cracks in it. It's falling apart. I'm sitting there going, what? How's that again? Like, it's the dumbest rationale I've ever heard. But you can tell he's real excited about it because, like, yeah, they're falling apart. You know, I have to say, at least with the corporate news, they were trying with the whole H-1B visa thing, which, by the way, I was looking into and thinking about covering more today. But what I mentioned about it the other day, it seems like I pretty much said about all I really needed to say on it, because it turns out as of now, they've kind of discussed it amongst each other and kind of worked out essentially what they want to do as far as handling that situation. And no one got thrown off a cliff. There were no, crappy, fake, shaky gallows that were erected to hang someone that they could never hang because the body weight would smash the wooden crappy boards. It's like, there was no big drawn out fight. It was like, it was one day and then the next day it was over. So the whole big thing that everybody on the left was talking about, like how they're having these fights about H1B visas, and and it's really getting them. No, not really. No. I really I don't know what the hell, but I mean, it's incredible because um these people are just like the fact that they're still unable to like just accept that okay, Trump's coming in, you're just gonna have to deal with it and not be expecting any kind of great news to come your way and him to have a cabinet that's falling apart and all the Republicans are definitely going to be falling apart and there's been I mean if that does happen there's certainly been no signs of it for sure being a serious concern at all in the slightest or even something that we should be really spending our time thinking about at all at the moment because the only thing that really was a tense moment that comes to mind for me was once again with Matt Gaetz and the senators who were talking about the right, the people on the right senators, the conservative senators, who were saying they didn't want to support him. That was the only time it really seemed to me like there was some kind of conflict in the party, but this time it's like there's this big brain theory that well, these are both MAGA associated people too. It's like, okay, just because me and my brother are both we both had voted for Trump. Now, if we were to start fighting one day, does that mean that MAGA's falling apart? I mean, really, no one would know who we are, really, except for you guys, which thank you very much for watching. But still, I mean, very few people would know who I am. He's not really ever been on camera on any kind of really live stream, so no one would know who he is. And if we were fighting over something which, by the way, had really nothing to do with the administration or Trump or anything like that. It had to do with personal stuff. So if me and my brother were fighting over personal stuff, would David Pakman come in and make a video being like, oh my God, look at this, MAGA's falling apart. Uh-oh, MAGA's gonna hit a brick wall. It's all over for MAGA. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. And the only thing, I just keep thinking back to somebody early on saying and that's why the episode title is, and that's how I came up with the name, because it really is like they're having a very difficult time. They're going through the stages of loss. I can't remember. Is it 5 stages? I have to look it up while we're doing the show. But it's like they're going through the stages of loss, and they can't actually just get through it because they're just hung up on one that's particularly difficult. And like in David Pakman's case, it's like this weird kind of what do you call it? This weird sort of false optimism he keeps telling himself, like it's definitely coming. I don't know if that's I wouldn't say that's part of negotiation, because negotiation would be where, but it kind of is, because then you're like, well, I'll accept that he's coming into office, but if he's gonna fall apart, then that's definitely all right with me. I'll be fine. It's like, I don't know, maybe it's that, or maybe it's just rationale, like you're trying to figure out ways that this could happen, and you keep looking at things that are going wrong and be like, well, I don't know how it happened, but it doesn't look like it's going to work out too well, so that's once again, trying to rationalize it to happen. I don't know, it seems like there's got to be something there, because it doesn't make any sense, and I'll just say right now, the other person who we're going to check out today, who I've been really wanting to make a video on, because the dude is just he hasn't been popping his head out above water too much very often, but the few instances he does make an appearance for are gold, and including his new hair color, Kyle Kalinske, because that dude is a total I mean, he just is an idiot. Like, he just comes off as a complete idiot. And so, once again, just like David, completely arrogant and smug. But the way he carries himself is very different. He does it in a way where he's got like a total smart ass sort of his mannerisms, the way he speaks, the way he emphasizes certain words, the way he looks into the camera. Even he's just got this really completely condescending, arrogant sort of way of going, like doing all of his work, and it's really annoying. It's really, really annoying because he just sounds like an idiot. Was one occasion where he was like essentially encouraging Biden to try to bribe people. Like, I think, as much as I know Biden is used to bribing, I don't know if that was the best idea to make a suggestion of out in the open, because I don't think bribery is something that's supposed to be allowed. It was directly to I think it was the Senate. So yeah, it was something like, some sort of direct method of trying to get the Senate to do something by a quid pro quo, and they hate those quid pro quos, except for when Biden does it. When Trump does it, it's like the end of the world. But anyway, we'll get rolling. So let's see, where should I start? Where should I start? Hold on a second. Let me see here. Now, and by the way, I'll just say this because I can't really even tell. Oh, never mind. I was just say I look like I'm. Oh wait, I didn't lose my connection, did I? I'm still streaming. Hold on just a second. I'm kind of confused. Okay, well, here, let me try this. Oh, whoops. I hope I didn't lose a connection. Jeez. It says it's still streaming at the same speed. It's just my Rumble connection has completely gone out. I don't know what is going on here. It's kind of strange. And by that I mean like oh, there it is. Okay, it's back up. The website's back up. It wasn't even letting me connect to the excuse me. It wasn't even letting me connect to the website, the homepage. But yeah, it says I'm live. Okay. Wait, where's there it is. Okay, there we go. Yeah, oh jeez. I was about to say, I don't know what it is, but Rumble is kind of giving me some weird numbers. I don't know if it's an issue on their side or if there's just been because, well, it doesn't make, some of the numbers don't even make any sense, because it said there was a total of a certain amount of views and then 0 actual raw views, which that didn't, I mean unique views, and then there were 0 unique views, and then there was a certain number of raw views, and I was like, wait, what? How does that doesn't make any sense. It would have to at least be one person who watched a bunch of times. And so anyway, I don't know. I don't know if the numbers are accurate. I have no idea what's going on Rumble. YouTube, I know, is really low, and it's still kind of leading me down the idea to either do one of two things. I'll just mention this now because I've been thinking about this for a while, because it's definitely apparent at this point, and this might not be the case forever, but it's definitely apparent right now that I've been kind of steadily going up on Rumble, except for the screw ups for the 2 weeks I was at the week and a half I was out, and then there's some shaky episodes for the next week or so. I had a little less than that, I think. But anyway, about just about a total of 2 weeks, or maybe 2 weeks and a couple days or something. Anyway, that did definitely set me back a little bit. But still, even so, I'm back to kind of a more upward direction on Rumble, and YouTube is just like completely unpredictable. It's all over the place. Some episodes are doing very well, others are doing terrible. So I really have no way to really know what is going on YouTube. On Rumble, it seems like there's at least some times where I guess the channel pops up in someone's suggested somewhere, but because I'm kind of unable to track what's going on, I was just going to say, I know and like I've said before, and I'll say it again, I'll keep saying it every day, I always have to say it, I'm not going to be the kind of person that's going to say, smash the like button, and don't forget to hit subscribe, like this content. No, I'm just going to say, if you like what you see, I'd love to, I would really appreciate if you would subscribe and leave a like if you enjoy the content, all that fun stuff. Especially because I really have no way of knowing really what's going on right now. I don't really have access to any kind of information that seems like it's reliable. So I'm just kind of curious, because I'm nowhere near the amount of time that I know I would need to put in to see any kind of real serious kind of upturn. But I was, after the first 2 weeks of pretty consistent work, there was definitely a correlation to some steady progress there for a while, but then that kind of just, like dropped off. So, yeah, if for no other reason, I would like to keep track of how many people are actually around and are checking out the channel and are coming back to watch, because I'm not going to tell anyone to leave a comment. If you want to comment, you can. If you don't have to. There's no worries there. I know the engagement part of everything, but really that part doesn't bug me. I'm more just concerned about making sure everybody is enjoying. And if you aren't and you do want to make some suggestions, that's always cool too. I would greatly appreciate it, because I do want to make the show better for everybody. But yeah, at this point, I am going to kind of more frequently ask that if you do enjoy the content, please subscribe and leave it a like if you enjoy the content, because I'm trying to actually start paying attention to the numbers now. And I really did. I mean, I've had a pretty cool outpouring of pretty good support, and it's been clear as far as how it has manifested for a while there. But then all of a sudden there was this weird, sort of sequence of events that kind of ended up with like kind of a bunch of confusion on my part. So anyway, so I just have to get that out right now, and thank you for listening. Anyway, so let's get on with this first one. Let's see. I know one thing I should do. I should move this one over to my other monitor. Oh yeah, and I'll try to get to the what's going on with the House today, and the Speaker nomination, and President Trump's endorsement for who he's said he would support as the next Speaker of the House for this Congress. And I won't say anything else other than that, but it's pretty much what you would expect, and for good reason, I think. So I'll just leave it at that. But I know I said that once already. I'll say it twice. Anyway, let's see. Yeah, here we go. By the way, I don't think I'll be having as much trouble with videos anymore and finding them, because I've been actually starting to just decide, what, screw it, just type a title in. Let's make sure that it's easy to remember. So, let's see. Yeah, here we go. All right. So yeah, this is just like I said, this is about as desperate as.
All right, one of the stories we're going to.
You could imagine somebody being like, in terms of just really trying to figure out like some kind of angle you can come at it from to give you some sort of hope that that someone's gonna be able to break apart the evil MAGA agenda, and they're gonna collapse under their own weight. And it's like, I don't think that once again, it's a situation where the left really doesn't get it, because they are of a hive mind and or of a top-down structure where the leadership says you vote and do something, then you do it. But with Republicans and the conservatives in Congress, at least, there's sometimes disagreements. And even with the president and some of his cabinet, sometimes there's disagreements. And they talk them out and they come to a conclusion. I think that's a whole hell of a lot better than just, Chuck Schumer or Nancy Pelosi coming in and saying, okay, you're voting this way. Like, what exactly are you doing there? You're just there as another. I guess it's the equivalent of why we have the border open. Like, the more people come in and vote, we know you're going to vote for us. Come on in. You have to vote for us now, because it's so. Oh, it's gross, but it's 100% predictable and not at all something that I would have guessed that. Like, I don't know. It's just like, why in the hell are you just sitting around trying to find ways that your enemies are going to destroy themselves in a time where they are more like united than they have been in a long time? There's definitely some issues, but at the same time, they are laser focused on making sure that certain things get done. In particular, the two big ones, the border and there's a new name for the extension of the tax cuts. I can't remember the actual name of the bill, but I'm very interested in seeing it, so I guess we'll figure that out. Anyway, this is I don't know. Should I explain any of it, or nah? I'm just gonna go in. And well, yeah, like I said, I'm just going to go in and then I'll talk about it, because there's a few things that I need to say about this, aside from how stupid it is, because, one of them has some relevance to some statements I made actually yesterday. So here's David and his big idea that he sees now, and he's got to make sure he tells all of his followers that, don't worry, hope is on the way, change is on the way. It's like Obama all over again. It's coming, but no. Anyway, so here's hold on, let me get this over here. There we go. Yes, let's see. Whoops, that's yeah. Okay, here we go.
All right, one of the stories we're going to focus on, sort of in depth, is in the wake of what happened with the voting around the debt ceiling bill. We have seen
and then this dude, this guy's dressed up like Little Richard. Why is this guy dressed up? Is he a Little Richard lookalike? Like, I don't even know what's happening here.
Cracks in the foundation of MAGA.
How could you possibly point to Milo Yiannopoulos and Laura Loomer as any sort of temperature gauge of MAGA? This shit is so.
That's right. He's talking about a fight at Turning Point, their Amerifest. He's talking about a backstage fight, or a backstage argument, basically, between Milo and Laura Loomer, and that is evidence that MAGA has some cracks in the armor. What? What? I'm sorry, what? What are you talking about? What? How does that prove anything? Anyway, we'll keep going. This guy, it was just, I love this guy, by the way. I gotta find his name again because this guy's was hilarious to listen to through this. I think I still have to download it. Should list in there. Oh, I might have tossed it out though. Here, hold on, one last thing. If I did toss it out, that would be. I did some house cleaning today, by the way, if you can't see. Oh, it would definitely be here. Oh, yeah, here it is. Does it say the guy's name in the clip? No, it does. Damn. Okay. Well, I'll have to look it up. But anyway, in the meantime, dude was. I loved his presentation. I loved his interjections. It was hilarious to watch. But let's continue on and see how deep this divide actually is, and if we can bridge it. I don't know. It's looking pretty bad. Looking pretty bad for MAGA, guys. Oh man, Laura Loomer and Milo are beefing with each other. Oh man! Oh, no! Not today. We're not doing that today. Here we go. Let's start this up again. Oh boy. Okay.
Just because some people say and do does not mean it's the entire group. This is so fake and I don't give a what Laura Loomer and Milo Yiannopoulos do. Milo Yiannopoulos, I find to be highly entertaining. I wouldn't trust him for a second.
Nah, I wouldn't.
Okay, I do find him entertaining, though.
Yeah.
I think and also there's just something about, and look, I don't know for sure, but it seems like he's really coked up when he goes on these shows, and I just find the whole manic, coke-fueled British thing, it's hilarious to me.
Maybe.
And if he's not on coke, whatever he's on, and maybe he's just high on life, whatever it is, I find it hilarious. Laura Loomer, I don't really find to be that entertaining, although she can do good work at times. When she uncovered the corruption about Judge Merchan, that was top quality investigative reporting. That was fantastic. Other she does is total cringe.
But I'm going to save it for the end of this because I have like I said yesterday when I was talking about the H1V debate and discussion, and some people going way too far on how bad they were taking it. It was like it was basically like Trump wasn't really closing the border and doing something about immigration if he didn't stop the H1B visa program, which I was kind of like wait, what? What? I know that's what's actually in the program. I don't know for sure. So I figured it out and I looked up to see what it was, and I was like, oh, this isn't like regular immigration though. These are for getting very highly specialized people to do things that you really need specialized people to do. And of course, it's going to cost the business owner a lot of money. They're not going to be able to just hire this person for free. They're going to have to pay a decent salary to this person. And the people who are really going to suffer are American citizens who have never been able to... well, I mean, you get the point. I mean, it's just like, it's not at all... it's not at all rooted in an idea where that's really a major issue and that it's causing like serious problems to people around. It's just a what do you call it? Training wheels. I don't know what am I talking about? Anyway, but anyway, let's. I'll talk more about the stuff from yesterday when we get done with the clip. I don't want to get mixed up between the two things. So, anyway, let's get into this again.
Now, this particular thing I don't even care about, but I just thought it was kind of entertaining. But the idea that this in any way is like a way to measure the temperature of MAGA? Ridiculous, utterly ridiculous.
Yeah.
Not the best materials have been used to build this foundation.
They're
such
not
that
the foundation of anything. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
This is so crazy.
it is now cracking.
psychotic.
And
It's not.
before we get
These people have been beefing for years, I think, haven't they?
Yeah,
By the way,
they have.
Milo,
They've had a feud
he's
for a
got
long
this
time.
thing where he'll go on a show and he'll talk mad shit about somebody.
I'll just say it. This is what I was going to say. I kind of remembered immediately afterwards. I'll just say, if none of you guys out there, I'm sure there's at least some of you guys out there who know who I'm talking about. There was a stream a few years back involving Laura Loomer and one Mr. Medicare, aka Jimbo Medicare. He goes by mostly those names. There were some others from a long time ago, but I doubt any of you guys would know those. But the thing was that it was during a series of escapades where Laura Loomer, who is a journalist, by the way, in case you don't know that part, had been getting kind of planning herself smack dab into all these high protest areas during like BLM riots and stuff. And then when she get beat up or hurt or knocked down, she would come out and say like, "Oh, this was really, I feel so, I'm hurting so bad." It's like, and it was like DSP kind of levels of begging, where it's like, you're really trying to get people to, throw in any kind of extra cash so that you can have, have this whole situation. Anyway, but Mr. Medicare he's a guy who, if you're familiar with his work, or not his work, his videos, he's a very he doesn't give a shit too much about trying to present himself in a way that is viewed as either acceptable or catering to any kind of set of rules or anything. This is it's just totally, there's nothing really off balance, but at the same time he has no problem questioning anything. But I mean, I've seen him around just about what do you call it? I guess like, well, okay. I got to stop getting off subject. We'll go back. I'll get back to it when it's over. But like, essentially, this is one thread that is appearing a lot with people who are obviously Trump supporters, but have co-opted the name MAGA or America First, which there's going to be another stream, probably all entirely dedicated to that. But I'll get to that when I come to it. For now, I'll just stick with this situation because it's like, when you adopt those sorts of phrases that belong to Trump's campaign and were his kind of brainchild, you're making it so that well, now I don't even know what I'm talking about. I'm going off on a weird subject. My point is that like, Laura Loomer has been obviously a Trump voter and obviously part of, like, supporting MAGA for a long time. But she's got that edgy sort of side to her where she wants to get attention from the, like, not quite to the same extent as like a Richard Spencer kind of person, like an alt-right kind of attention, but like not afraid to go there in terms of rhetoric and to bring it up as a joke. People would be, "Oh, how dare you," in some other instances, whereas I don't get upset about that kind of thing, and that's where when you watch someone like Medicare, it's funny because he doesn't really care about the petty stuff that people would normally get butthurt about. He actually cares more about the fact that you stay consistent, or you're not just like someone who is consistently reminding us. That's why DSP, I think, originally came onto his radar, and he's done shows, several shows, like in a similar way. With I did it again, in a similar way, and with similar talking points and whatever, and it's kind of like by that point it's too late, because the other thing is that like Medicare will have no problem recording a conversation, and if you're trying to if you're trying to get into a situation where you're like mainstream supporting MAGA, there's ways to do it, and there's ways to be edgy about it. But like when you are, when everything sounds really forced, it just doesn't work. So, and that's kind of how I feel about her. Milo, I don't see it the same way, but I also see him as somebody who is kind of like going wherever the wind blows him, kind of a guy. Like he's not going to really plant himself into the ground and kind of hold that position for as long as he can hold it. It's more like even if he sees something that is less noteworthy than what he believed. And anyway, sorry to go off, but anyway, let's get back to it, because I'll end up taking up forever if I keep talking about this part right now. So here, let's get back into David's talking. Laura Loomer,
and then there's a beef, and then there's a whole thing, and then sometimes people might have a debate. This is a cycle. These people know how to get their names in the headlines. That's all this is. This has nothing to do with MAGA. It's just two people that know how to get views having a go at each other. That's all. I wouldn't be surprised if they texted each other before this and said, let's have a go with each other at wherever they are at AmFest, and then the internet will go, oh, look, they're fighting. I wouldn't be surprised at all by that.
Into that.
I wouldn't either, and in that same vein, it's a very different type of showing. But at one point, Milo was going to appear with Gavin at an airport in front of a crowd where they knew there was going to be a bunch of Islamic people in it. So they made out in front of the group of Islamic people. Now, Gavin's straight. He's married, but he just did it just to piss the Muslims off. So just so, there's some validity in that last statement. Yeah, that is what Milo would do, most definitely. So, yeah, let's... I've seen the video. I wish I didn't, but yeah, I've seen the video. So yeah, I can confirm that. But anyway, let's go ahead and go back. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hit play. Jeez Louise, what the hell?
Broader topic, I do want to give you a couple of anecdotes that I think are relevant about what's happening within the Republican Party. We've talked before about MAGA versus non-MAGA within the Republican Party. You've got your MAGA Republicans and you've got your anti-Trump Republicans. They've had conflict for a long time. Trump versus Liz Cheney, Adam Kinzinger, Mitt Romney, half of Trump's former cabinet.
You notice how out of all those people you mentioned, there's only one that's still in the position that they were in. That's Mitt Romney. Liz Cheney voted out. Adam Kinzinger voted out. Trump's former staff that stabbed him in the back, they're all gone. And did the public care? No, they didn't. So I don't know what this is supposed to prove either, but that's like, I'm never going to get through this if I keep stopping it. Sorry. Back on. It's just so stupid. Et cetera,
et cetera. So we know about MAGA versus non-MAGA.
Yeah.
But what I want to show you here is that there is a growing MAGA versus MAGA violence of sorts. This is video from the after party, I guess. Doesn't seem like a very fun party. The after party at...
I can tell you right now, David is not the kind of person I would trust or go through judgment of to to tell me what a fun party looks like. I don't even want to know what his idea of a fun party looks like. Maybe it's Raining Men or something. Maybe that's his idea of a fun party.
Amfest, which is
Well, I wouldn't take your view of what a good party is. What are you kidding me?
I love this guy. He always says the same.
With David, it's very simple. There were just not enough to the face at this party. Although enough for Milo.
the Turning Point USA event in Phoenix, Arizona. We looked at clips of Trump speaking there. We'll look at some clips of Matt Gaetz speaking there in a moment. At this after party, two people, Laura Loomer.
Bro, you are the worst. They're way better than you. And I don't hold Milo in any sort of high regard, and I would not trust him for a second. Any conversation you have with that guy, he's recording. So as long as you know that. But Milo Yiannopoulos is a pleasure compared to David Pakman. Laura Loomer's a pleasure compared to David Pakman. What are you kidding me? You're David Pakman.
And Milo Yiannopoulos got into an argument that reportedly went nearly 10 minutes and had to be broken up. Remember, this is all MAGA. This is not MAGA. It's not.
This is two who, again, this is such a fake narrative. Nobody cares about what these people do other than having a laugh at the drama. That's it. It's not serious. It's stupid.
Adam Kinzinger got in and Laura Loomer got in. No. This is MAGA versus MAGA. Take a look at this.
Drug addict and you're not beating me. You're paid by Marjorie Taylor Greene to get rid of the jury. You're not winning, Milo.
What's wrong with Marjorie Taylor Greene, by the way?
You guys have one forces. You look like shit, Milo. You have fallen from grace, okay?
Yeah, why is Little Richard here? Who is Little Richard? Why is he dressed like Little Richard? I don't know. I've never seen that guy before.
You know me, Milo. Don't talk about me online and then run and hide in the corner.
Milo's got the Coke teeth going. You know the Coke teeth where the gritting, the cocaine gritting. I'm telling you. I mean, look, he might not be on Coke, but it is hilarious. I don't. There's something about flamboyant homosexuals on Coke talking to a woman who usually, I tell you this, she usually wears too much makeup. Right now, she's wearing a lot of makeup, but it's not that overdone. She's not looking bad in this clip. She's looking okay.
I don't know how
she's like a two-face. Sometimes you're like, and then other times you're like, definitely not. It just depends.
Eligible this is, but Laura Loomer, who is such a person, and
you're David Pakman.
Yeah.
She's a pleasure compared to you.
Accused Milo of being paid by Marjorie Taylor Greene. I guess at one point Milo was interning for Marjorie Taylor Greene. And then she says for Milo to stop saying things about her behind her back. But Milo says, I'm willing to say any of it in public.
What is that? What do I live for, Milo? What do I, low-rent spectacle? What is that? Your cheap curls, your cheap shoe? You're wearing sunglasses outside like a douchebag. Everything you do.
Yeah, he's wearing them at night.
Okay, you don't have any dignity, okay? You're a piece of shit. You're a liar, okay? And you want to talk about me on Twitter nonstop. Say it's my
Talking about me on Twitter nonstop.
Hey, at least she's still calling it Twitter. She's refusing to call it X.
That's it.
No, I think she's just freaking dumb and she doesn't, think about it. Like the way, oh God, this guy, the cope is always just it's always about just coping, trying to find some reason to believe that MAGA's falling apart because of this. For real? You're dead serious? You think this is some kind of death knell for the party?
That was a very dangerous person.
Oh yeah? Really?
Unstable.
Unstable.
I think you are bad for yourself.
Unstable. Because I want to call you out because you are a liar and you're a drug addict and you dog people and you lie about people and you're just.
If it's true that he's a drug addict.
Look at the freeze frame he's got on Milo. Oh my God, it's hilarious.
I don't know. I mean, that's a medical problem. I don't know why you would throw that in his face.
Because your life has been canceled and instead of being able to rebuild like I did, instead of being able to rebuild my life. No.
Okay, so and Milo tells Laura she needs medication, which is probably true. But anyway, it's not his place to say because his expertise is not pharmacology. Okay, so
but you just said she probably needs.
Yeah, like you just said, she probably needs it, so it's fine for you. But on top of all of that, have you ever? I know you've never been in a fist fight. You've never been in a verbal fight either, David. Like you've never been in a shit talking fight before. Like hell, I've been in tons of those. I mean, you say some nasty shit. You don't care if cameras are running. You say some nasty shit. You usually say much more nasty shit than what was said here. But, like, that's the problem because that's standard. You look at this like, oh, look at these two MAGA people. They're so angry at each other. So what? I mean, yeah, there's a lot of people that, as I was talking about just before, I may have to touch on that subject today because although it looks like maybe it won't be as easy as I thought to get there, but that's a different story. My point is that like this idea that now all of a sudden you're switching to you're not a doctor, you can't give medical information. Dude, he says she needs medication because she's screaming at him and at a political rally event, like, or a political convention. That's kind of what the point is. It's not because of, your own issue of losing something, which, oh man, this is just anyway. I'm sorry. Once again, let me get back to this. We're finally getting closer to the end.
This apparently
Actually, I do think his expertise is in illicit pharmacology.
got very ugly, and eventually someone else came over as it continued or potentially had moved to a different location and kind of it went on, and someone else said, you're going to have to leave if this doesn't stop.
I don't feel any compassion for you.
Why do you have to stop? They're not yelling. They're just having a conversation. Why would you try to stop this?
He does not want any problems. James, send me listen. If you could deal with the guest that's going to be problem, listen. Since you're making our host feel uncomfortable, maybe you could
He's gonna make me
listen. It's either we all get along and we have a good night, or nobody can be here. I understand. I understand, but that's the rule.
All right. Anyway, I think you get the point.
Yeah, I get the point.
What's the takeaway
Nothing.
here? The takeaway is that
You're an
these
idiot. That's a
people
takeaway.
in general are fundamentally unfit to govern or run anything.
Who the would? This is wild. No one in their right mind would argue that Milo or Laura Loomer should be governing anything. No one has argued that. No one has said Milo Yiannopoulos should be in the White House. The idea that there's like an argument that Milo Yiannopoulos needs to be in the White House. Are you kidding me? What are you just you're taking two drama queens who had a tiff and you're trying to make an overall point about MAGA. It's ridiculous.
Now you might.
That's the problem, though. That is the leftist view of everything because they're so into demographics and into like tribalism so deeply that these people doesn't just apply to Laura Loomer and Milo. He's saying that in terms of these people, meaning Trump, meaning J.D. Vance, meaning RFK Jr., meaning Tulsi Gabbard, meaning Kash Patel, meaning Pete Hegseth. That's what he means. He's trying to take the bad behavior of two people who went to an event, to a political event just before the inauguration of President Trump's second term, and two people who don't like each other, even though they both support the same president, which, oh my God, yeah, that can happen. Had a fight where they were yelling at each other at the event. And because of that, that means that these people aren't fit to be in any sort of political office or in the White House or anything like that. What the fuck kind of what kind of rationale gets you there? That is one of the most dumb trains of thought I've ever heard in my life, because of the fact that it's like you're watching two people that have nothing to do with the administration. They aren't in the administration. They haven't been named by the administration. Trump hasn't talked about them once, not during his campaign, not after he won, not in any of his interviews, none of that stuff. He's talked about his nominees. He hasn't nominated these people for anything. What the hell do they have to do with the administration or MAGA? They support MAGA. That's it. That's it. That's the only thing that is in common here. But because they were arguing, because as I've said before, if you're part of the Democratic Party, they demand compliance. You must comply or you are to be gone. And they don't handle things like this. No. They handle this in a situation like I would guess that in this situation, it'd probably be Laura Loomer who would be thrown out, because let's just say they weren't who they are and they were just two people with the same characteristics. Laura Loomer's probably a little bit lower on the totem pole than a gay guy. So, that's how they handle things on the left. It's that victimhood bullshit where he's marginalized a little bit more than a woman probably because he's gay, although it's hard to tell these days. Because sometimes now maybe women, and because trans women are women, you see, I mean, this is the ridiculous nonsense of someone like this asshole. He talks about this like this is so abnormal, this is so unusual. Meanwhile, his party supports chopping dicks off of 8-year-olds and, it's so pathetic. Like, how do you become someone like this guy? Not that I want to know for reference, for myself or anything, but at the same time, I'm really curious. Like, what does it take to become this much of an actual pussy? And to completely overlook the fact that you're being just a monstrous hypocrite right now. Because of the fact that your party, they can't get into arguments, they can't debate anything, they aren't supposed to speak if they haven't been pre-approved to even fucking speak. And not to mention the fact that this is also coming from the party that's lied nonstop for 4 years straight about every major event they've been involved in, which, considering the first half of the administration, they had all 3 major seats in the powerful 3 people in charge of whatever the hell they're in charge of. Oh my God. I can't believe how ridiculous this person is because of his insistence that, oh yeah, this is gonna be a great idea. We can find so much from it. I don't know. I don't know what the hell, but it's like he's trying so hard. He's trying so hard to find a way to appease the lunatic people in his own freaking little world where he is playing what looks like Super Mario Paint or something. Yeah, he's gonna give me a list. Anyway, I'm getting into weird subjects again now. But like that's where we're at. That's where we're at with the left, and they wonder why the country's turned off from their political positions in every elected federal office, from heads of law enforcement, heads of federal and state law enforcement, the attorney general. It's like, I'm completely surprised. Well, I guess surprised is the wrong word. I'm just a little, I guess I'm more confused than anything about why would you Yeah. Anyway, sorry. We'll get back to this. This is sad and it's pathetic. At least we've got this guy in the background entertaining us, though. He's much more entertaining. Anyway, let's go ahead and get back.
I'd say, well, Laura Loomer isn't running anything. Milo's not
Exactly.
running anything. Milo
Fucker.
isn't running anything.
So you know your argument is
But Laura Loomer is increasingly close to Donald Trump. And
that's
although
totally made up.
she may not be running anything, this is the type of person who's just going around saying you're mentally ill, you need this medication, you need that, running anything. This is the type of person who's just going around saying you're mentally ill, you need this medication, you need that, this, that, the other.
Well, so what? She's
Close to Donald Trump. And
that's
although
totally made up.
she may not be running
Donald
increasingly
Trump.
close to Donald Trump. And
that's
now you might say, well, Laura Loomer isn't running anything. Milo's not
Exactly.
running anything. Milo
Fucker.
isn't running anything.
So you know your argument is
But Laura Loomer is increasingly close to Donald Trump.
Yeah, no.
And
that's
although
totally made up.
No,
she may not be running.
no. She's not increasingly close to Donald Trump. No. This is such bullshit. I guess he's trying to give his audience some reason to not despair or something. I have no idea what the other kind of motivation could be for this, because the only thing you could possibly get out of it is some sort of some kind of I don't know, ledger goes for a second. Sorry. But no, that statement alone is like, according to whom? According to who is Laura Loomer getting closer to Donald Trump? Because I'll tell you this, you know how many people Donald Trump has in his orbit? You know how many people, like, he talks to on a weekly basis? And you know how many people he gets advice from? I mean, if you think in some way Laura Loomer somehow has some sort of outsized influence to the president, you're either ignorant or you're deliberately lying because of some sort of strategy you're trying. And that's what's so ridiculous about this guy and the left now in general, for the most part, is that it's not about the fuel company. It's about the pay. Can you pay? Yeah, we can pay. I'm so confused by this. And he thinks this is some freaking massive gotcha. Like, he thinks this is gold. This is super important to make sure I get out there to my viewers to show them that MAGA is in real bad shape right now. Oh, yeah, my. Oh my God! I can't take. Here, just finish this off, because this is really. I can't find the words. I just can't find. It's so unbelievably pathetic. Anyway, this is almost done now, I think. So yeah, it's almost done. We'll finish this up.
Anything. This is the type of person who's just going around saying you're mentally ill, you need this medication, you need that, this, that, the other.
Well, so what? She talks. Who cares?
Like, you know how they demanded you can't use certain words anymore. So now when you say you need medication, now that's bad too, I guess. Like, what else are we going to have to take away, David? What other words are not appropriate for certain settings? Which, by the way, we're just, we're stuck having to do in some cases, and in other cases, you raise hell if somebody says just, like something like that I'm sorry, but men can't give birth. Well, that's a bigoted statement to say. I won't stand, like that douchebag on CNN the other day that was like, I won't let someone openly make homophobic and transphobic slurs at this table today. So Oh, Maureen. Like, what the fuck? And then I got out of the car and I was like, man, this thing does kind of smell weird, but I put it down on a paper towel just to smell it. It's like, it smells like soap, It's fine. And it's fine. Maybe she shouldn't recommend soap either. I don't know. It's like, this whole thing is so bizarre. Like, what is going on here? Just, I think more than anything, just laugh at David Pakman. It's fine. Don't watch this guy if you're trying to actually get anything resembling realistic news, because like even the mainstream leftist news, at least they're talking about something that has some truth to it. The only true thing he said so far is that there was an argument between Milo and Laura Loomer at their Turning Point event. That's the only thing he said so far that actually reflects reality. That's fucking pathetic. That's ridiculous. And he wants to host a show that he's going to inform people about politics and political issues. Yeah, man. Wow. Yeah, everybody wonders why younger people vote the way they do. It's because of fucking dumbasses like this dude. Jeez. Okay, finish your stupid talk.
She is very close to Trump and has Trump's ear.
No, I don't think that's true. I think she wishes that was true.
This is emblematic of everything that's going on. Michael Flynn is now in the ecosystem.
Now, Michael Flynn is a totally different story. Michael Flynn is awesome, and I would put him right in the White House.
Yeah.
What was the guy's name?
How you can't possibly compare Laura Loomer and Milo to General Flynn? What, are you kidding me?
Exactly.
That's ridiculous. That's a ridiculous comparison.
Football player Herschel Walker is getting an
Herschel Walker is fine. I have no problem with Herschel Walker.
ambassadorship. It's a complete and total debasement of just what does it even mean?
Have you seen the clown they got in your White House? Have you seen?
Now this is where it's pretty much just like where it's almost crossing a line. This two people that aren't connected to the incoming president, who aren't nominated by the incoming president, who don't have the ear of the incoming president on a drop of a hat, that really have no influence over the president whatsoever. Them having a fight at Amphitheater, totally out of line. Totally out of line. That's a sign that these people, all of them, everyone associated with them or the president or anybody else, nope. But our senile guy we lied about for 3.5 years, that guy's fine. That guy's fine. And the cackling crazy lady who lost every single swing state, she's fine too. And the gay guy who tried to lie about taking the bike to work because someone was, just walking by and noticed an SUV dropping him off with a bike to ride the next 2 miles or whatever, 2 blocks or whatever the fuck it was, to the White House or to the Capitol, wherever he's going, on his bike, so he could pretend like he was riding his bike the whole way there. Those people, yeah, man, those are real winners. There's, senile guy who doesn't know where he is and is supposed to be running the country. There's crazy cackling lady who spends more money than she got, even though it was $2 billion goddamn dollars, and she spent $20 million over that in debt. And a guy who lies to the entire country and gets caught but doesn't ever talk about it. In fact, they all just do nothing but lie about what's happening. They're the moral ones. They're the ones that you can trust. They're the ones with the strength of character to really represent you and your values. Fuck off with that shit. That is, and I'm sorry, but good God, this is how they still think. Like, all that stuff's fine, all forgiven and forgotten, whatever. So, we don't know who was running the country for most of the last 4 years. Big deal. So our president that we cheered on the whole time was, out on vacation 46% of his damn term. That's totally fine. But people who are a part of the supporter base for the incoming president, well, that just shows that them and the president are all just terrible people that shouldn't be in power. it's sick. It's honestly sick. It's funny, but it's honestly sick as well because, like, not one time is this super hyper analytical eye ever going to be, aiming out at. Anyway, I'm sorry. Yeah, this has got to be. Yeah, it's almost over again. So I'm
These
just letting go
people,
now.
Mark Dice made a great video about how
whoops.
conservative Inc. is way too embracing of and gave some examples. And also Vivek and people like that gave some examples of this like ridiculous rhetoric about, yeah, are totally fine in the military. And so Mark Dice was like, he's talking about people like this. And then he goes to this clip of this like, oh, we got to make sure, giving a speech in uniform. Oh, we got to make sure that tolerance isn't enough and all this ridiculous.
Yeah, the military is a wreck under these people.
Anyway, why did I go on? Yeah, like you have no room to talk, David. Have you seen your White House? You gotta be kidding me.
To be generically qualified to do a thing that runs the country.
Michael Flynn is very qualified.
Yeah, he is.
And one of the things that I can tell you with certainty, when I was at the White House last week,
this is
you don't have to agree with every policy decision of the Biden.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Biden administration. I got a firsthand look. The equivalent folks who are just kind of like they're doing their job are highly competent people from just like a basic organization.
They're really competent.
Management, organizing your time, follow through, all this stuff. By comparison, the people that are being ushered in, almost like the doors, it's like the running of the.
Laura Loomer and Milo Yiannopoulos have not been ushered into the White House. They have no position in the White House.
Bulls, where they open the thing and all of a sudden everybody's stampeding out. The people stampeding in to be part of this forthcoming administration, it's not just that they have bad ideas. They are fundamentally incompetent at just doing anything. And so we'll deal.
None of these people have a position, David.
A little bit later, maybe tomorrow, with the cracks that are developing within MAGA. This is MAGA versus MAGA stuff. It's going to be very difficult to govern with any of this kind of crap kind of in your ecosystem.
Totally made up.
Yes. It's totally made up. It's more than made up. It's made up and intended to be a catalyst to cause people in separate camps. And here's what I think he's trying to do. He's not only trying to get the leftists to be like, yeah, okay, well, there's some hope that this administration won't do much, then he's also really, really trying. You notice how he's really trying hard to drive home some of the more aggressive points of the feud there. He's trying to get people that support each individual in the argument to have their own angry stance against the rest of the party or the rest of the people that are supporters of, so Laura's followers and fans are going to be mad at Milo. Milo's fans and followers are going to be mad at Laura. And he's hoping so bad that, here's the thing, David. These factions already existed a long time ago because unlike your shitty party, like I said, that demands compliance with everything, you can't think for yourself. Listen to Tulsi Gabbard talk about her experience in Congress. What they were told what to do. They were told how to vote. They were told where they could go and where they couldn't go. She was lucky because of her being a woman and a woman of color, so to speak, that, or at least, in the eyes of the public, it could be easily sold as someone marginalized. Their favorite word, marginalized. It's somebody marginalized. So that means that, we need to give them a pass to anything and everything they want. They're totally and completely qualified to do anything, like Admiral Levine, the dude dressed up like a fucking sailor old bag. I mean, the absolute circus that made up the last administration, it was a complete and total lunatic show. Like everyone in that whole, not just the White House, that whole party, they all had some stupid, ridiculous quirks that they all freaking tried not to let get out, but of course it would, and everybody finds out, and it's like, yeah, yep, okay, here we go. It's, oh, I can't even think about it anymore. That's David Pakman, everybody. Once again, I guess at first I started this by saying, like, yeah, I know I'm talking about this guy before a lot lately. I shouldn't just stick on him. No, fuck this guy. Seriously, this guy is like, and the reason is because, once again, I'm covering him because I've just noticed he's been making the rounds lately. He's been going, now it's interesting because Tim Pool kind of mentioned this the other day, and I'm kind of frustrated with Tim Pool lately, not because of him being particularly wrong, but about him kind of taking issues and blowing them up, like to be something that is this, like everything's this big, massive issue in Tim Pool's eyes, and it's just kind of getting annoying because a bunch of the stuff he's said has already kind of been like, I won't say resolved, but the temperature's gone way down, and it's like, it just seems like what you're doing is you're making it so that you can kind of keep the temperature up higher. I don't think he's doing that. Don't get me wrong, he's nowhere near a David Pakman in terms of bad motive. I don't think that it's like a plan of his to be doing that, but just because I think his mind naturally wanders to some of the worst things that he can think of, and maybe there was one that was an F, wasn't there? Maybe not. Anyway, sorry, thinking about something else. Yeah, it's just like I said, I'm stunned at how you can arrive at those conclusions, and of course, like the people that watch this moron and support this moron. I'm guessing, the only thing I can think of really, I'm guessing that the pyromancer dude who's going to be the one to burn it all down, he's going to show up and he's going to do that first, and then he's going to, oh, god damn it. Anyway, oh yeah, sorry, I got off topic. So he's been doing all the shows lately. He's been doing Piers Morgan. He's been doing that clip that I played of him with Jesse Lee Peterson. That was from a couple of years ago, obviously, so that's not relevant. But he has been like on a bunch of freaking like just interviews, and I think he was interviewed by Will Cain on Fox. On Fox Radio, it was for Will Cain's podcast. But you could tell, like, Will Cain, it was the same kind of shit. And he was like, because he has a camera on him, but you couldn't see David, of course. And you could tell by the look on Will's face, like, there are so many occasions where he's like, what the fuck's with this dude? Like, what's this guy talking about? And you could just see, like, he was like, whoa, thank you, you nice soy boy, for fixing. It's like, I'm sorry, don't lump me in with these people. But even so, even if you do, I have to almost take responsibility because, it was my turn to turn the, get everything prepared. Anyway, this, God. Anyway, actually, you know what? I need to grab Monster real quick. And like I said before, I'm going to make sure that we don't have the same issues we had before. And I am getting a little bit of a droopy eye. So I think take a break for about 5 minutes. If you guys want to go grab a drink, go to the bathroom, do whatever you need to do, go ahead and do that right now. I'll be back in about 5 minutes. We'll continue from there because we got one other creator to go over. I think we're going to have to miss out on the second subject for today, but that's fine. I just want to make sure we get over the main topic because this one's almost as bad, but at least he's talking to another leftist in this clip, so it's not like, some kind of attempt to spread this word about his ridiculous ideas in this clip too. So, and I might just go crazy and have a heart attack or a stroke or something during this next scene, so I got to prepare for it. Anyway, go ahead and take care of whatever you guys need to take care of. Get up and stretch, and we'll be back in just a moment. So, see you then. Okay, guys, we're back. Excuse me. So, like I said, I'm not going to have another show that goes sideways again. But either way, I just got something in my eye though. Hold on. Okay, there we go. I think I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. Anyway, so the other subject for today. Now this is Cope, but with a different sort of twist to it. This is Cope from someone who, yeah, I mean, as opposed to David, who is like a very passive aggressive sort of personality. This guy's just a very egocentric personality. He's like completely self-absorbed, completely condescending sounding. He's got a real ego, real serious ego. And I've noticed this about the guy, the way he talks, and he talks about people in particular. It's almost like he kind of defaults to thinking that people think like him naturally. They have to be converted or trained or convinced to think some other way Otherwise, it's not like legit or something. It's very strange. It's really weird, but it's the way and you can definitely tell it in this clip because he's trying to suggest. Wait, you'll love this. He's trying to suggest that Joe Rogan never really believed any of the stuff he said. He never really supported Bernie Sanders. He never really was a Democrat. He never really didn't want to vote for Trump. So that's kind of weird that he because he didn't ever vote for Trump until he said this election he was voting for him. But he didn't want to not do it before. But just because now there's so much pressure on him, he has to do it. It's like, and it's because, he's just so dumb, and he's just hanging out with all these people who you can't talk to these people, otherwise they're just gonna lead you down the wrong path. And it's essentially trying to say that everyone else's ideas are shit, his are the right ideas, and if you disagree, you're an idiot. That's basically his point. So this is Kyle Kulinski, one of the most smug, arrogant little shits on the platform, and this is his opinion on what happened in the last election, and in particular what happened with the media in the last election, and not the media like the media that we all think of as the mainstream media, the media like podcasts, streamers, YouTubers, content creators. As I've said before, I would never be so absolutely smug as to call somebody an influencer. There's no influencers, but no, I mean literally just when we're talking about anybody who makes online content, no matter how big their audience is, you must agree with Kyle. Otherwise you're an idiot. Otherwise you're a fool. You're just bought and paid for by, I'm sure, big oil or something, even though like this makes no sense. But anyway, and didn't CNN kind of essentially say that Joe Rogan was full of shit because he took ivermectin when he got COVID, and that was dangerous, and that was terrible. And to prove their case, they took a video that Rogan took on his phone and actually changed the color scheme to make him look like he was kind of turning green. So that's how these people work. It reminds me of a joke by Mitch Hedberg. He said, some people take this kind of thing too far. They say, I like everybody. I don't care if you're white, black, brown, green, or purple. Oh, come on, man. You gotta draw the line somewhere. I hate purple people. Unless they're choking. Then help them. That's a good joke. I miss Mitch. He died a long time ago. But anyway. But yeah, apparently according to CNN, you should hate green people at least because they're not taking the COVID vaccine. They're taking ivermectin, which is horse paste, and it's not meant to be taken. I won't go down that route. We'll just stick with Kyle for today. Just deal with one moron. But he's talking to. I won't even get into this either because one day I'll go over this guy in his own video because he deserves it. Possibly the most reprehensible person that I've seen on the platform, Sam Cedar. This is his little stooge, Emma Vigeland, who actually thinks that. Well, you'll see because there's a clip from Tim Pool. I was just talking about Tim Pool, and once again, I don't dislike Tim Pool. I just think lately he's been really, really on high alert for no real reason. Like it's just kind of like hyperactive for something is gonna happen, and he doesn't know what, he doesn't know when, but the signs are there, so he believes it. And it's like, but what's gonna happen? It's weird. I think it's kind of working people up. We don't need people to get worked up any more than they already are. We need to calm people down a little bit more. But at the same time, I see a lot of people in the same kind of mindset, just not constantly. And I think that's, maybe I'm wrong. It's just with Tim, that's just what I see a lot, is that in so many instances he seems sure that something's going to happen soon. It's going to be terrible. But there's nothing wrong with being prepared, but like just being so certain about it is just kind of. But rest assured, he's far more far easier to listen to, far easier to understand and believe and get along with, and find yourself listening to and enjoying than some smug, arrogant, self-righteous jerk like Kyle Kalinske. So this is actually a video from Tim Pool's channel, and him reacting to Mr. Kalinske's diagnosis of people like Joe Rogan, and Elon Musk is, I think, also another name he throws out there. And it's like, they're never really leftists. They never really believed. And you'll see how arrogant he actually is when he starts discussing what he's actually getting at. Because once again, it comes down to him. It all comes down to him specifically. So yeah. Well, let me just find this real quick. Like I said, I started naming these on my own. So it's. Oh, did I not move it? I might not have moved it. Hold on. Oh, wait, where'd it go? Oh, no. Oh, yeah. Here we go. I named it Tim Fool instead of Kyle, so okay, that's why.
Can the left...
Okay, hold on just a second. All right. Okay, so here's this one, and here we go.
Build their own Joe Rogan. I see this clip from the Majority Report. Kyle Kalinske and Emma Vigeland talking about Joe Rogan, why Kyle Kalinske is going to war with Joe Rogan and everything he has, all of the issues he has with the man. And in it, Emma Vigeland says that she went on my show with the intention of never getting invited back. Emma, you are always invited to come on this show. It's a laugh riot, and we enjoy having you. Because when these liberals come on these shows, their ideas fall apart, and we're totally here for it. Yeah. In this viral clip, Kyle Kalinske basically says that Joe Rogan used to nod along with the leftist things he was saying, and then he'd have Ben Shapiro on and nod along with him as well, because Joe Rogan's a moderate. But he's like, it makes me look like a fool because he was just lying the whole time. They claim that Joe Rogan's simply laundering propaganda. I got news for you guys. Perhaps you are wrong.
Also, one other thing, too, Kyle, you don't need Joe Rogan's help to look like a fool. You look like a fool on your own pretty much every day. So don't go thinking, it's anybody else's fault. They're bucko. But anyway, yes.
If everywhere you go, you smell dog poop, perhaps you should look at your boot. But let me lay into these liberal pundits who, Kyle, we've invited you on the show numerous times. You won't do it. Now, I often am very respectful when I talk to these people, and I say, I don't mind. I'm not going to cry when Hassan Piker refuses to come on the show, and he does. Or when Kyle Kalinske says, sure, maybe, but then doesn't, or the same thing with David Pakman. We've been trying to get these people in here forever. I don't complain because they host their own shows. People ask me to do their shows all the time, and I just can't do it. I do host a show with guests, and we do debates on the culture war, so we've created a space here where we can do it. But that doesn't mean Kyle Kalinske owes me anything. And if he's going to be hosting his own show and can't travel, I get it. I respect it. Now, that being said, there are a lot of conservative personalities, even big names, who will forego going on their shows to periodically come on Timcast IRL. So I don't think it's all that great of an excuse, but I will be nice. Let's play this clip, and then we'll debunk and criticize the left's lies and their criticisms of Joe Rogan.
Then you're fake independent media. You're not real independent media. And I'm now going to war because what we saw is a lot of these people like Joe Rogan, you know, I was there. I was on his show 4 or 5 times. He would sit there and nod in agreement when I would make anti-Trump arguments and arguments in favor of a left-wing worldview. Then 3 weeks later, Ben Shapiro would come on and say the exact opposite of me on every issue, and he would nod along in agreement.
And see, let me just start by debunking this. Certainly, if you make an argument to Joe and you say, actually, I think, we should have universal basic income for these reasons, he can go, oh, yeah, that's interesting. That makes a lot of sense. Then Ben Shapiro can come on and say, well, I certainly don't agree with having a universal basic income because, first of all, you can't spend other people's money. And then Joe will be like, that's a good point, too. Like, who's going to do the labor? Joe can entertain the ideas and explain why good points are being made. He's a moderate. I'll tell you this. Famously, Dave Rubin went on Joe Rogan's show and said something about building regulation. And Joe was like, what are you talking about? When Joe thinks that something doesn't make sense or there's not a good argument, he does challenge it. So let's not pretend it's not the case.
Right. And so at some point, you got to call a spade a spade. You're not independent media, and you're clearly just a vibes-based voter, right? You cocooned yourself in this right-wing echo chamber where you got right-leaning UFC people and right-leaning comedians, and Dana White, his boss, is super right-wing and loves MAGA. He put himself in this echo chamber. COVID helped to break his brain.
Cope harder, Kyle. Have you ever stopped to ask yourself why RFK Jr., Tulsi Gabbard, Joe Rogan, Tim Pool, Dave Rubin, come on, the list goes on and on of all of the people who have left the left because the left went nuts. Elon Musk, Colin Wright, need I say more? Now, don't get me started on the classical liberal types who are too scared to say they left the left, whatever. You can leave the left and still be a coward. That's fine. But these people can't seem to get it through their skulls. Perhaps the skulls are too thick. There's a reason why people are saying the left has gone nuts. And it's not that they're trapped in a right-wing echo chamber. You guys are in a cult is the problem. You can't seem to fathom that all of these people recognizing similar things. Emma Vigeland came on my show, The Culture War, and defended adult graphic materials for children. Come on, nobody agrees with that. Lance from the Surfs came on and said a woman should be allowed to get an abortion whenever she wants. And I said, even at 9 months, like whenever, it's her choice. And I said, can she do meth? And he goes, no, because that would intentionally kill the baby. What? You see, it's moments like that where the left is exposed for having miserable ideas. Now, don't get me wrong. The weird thing is, I'm still largely a liberal guy myself. That's right. I've long said I'm probably like a traditional or social liberal, meaning I actually do think there can be successful government programs and there can be successful welfare programs. And I think there needs to be regulation. I just think we're well overregulated and our programs are broken and we need to weed out corruption. But these people act like their ideas are unique to them, but they're so wrapped up in their cult, they can't listen to anybody else. So I go on Piers Morgan and this woman says something deranged. This lady goes, Tim Pool's a COVID denier who then got COVID and sought ivermectin, which is absolutely 100% false. But guess what? You knew that because you watched the show. And no, I never denied COVID. I did get COVID. I rejected ivermectin. I told Joe Rogan I didn't think it did anything. And I have to be honest, I still don't think it does. I'm not a doctor, okay? As I talk to a doctor. Joe responded, no, it's a protease inhibitor. And that stops the virus. And I'm like, I think it's largely that the people who are taking it were being cured of their parasites and worms in these other countries. So it did look like it was having a profound effect on COVID. That seems to make more sense to me. Joe argued with me about it. But this guy's lying. Kyle, you are in a cult.
And then look at that. He goes full MAGA. And you know what? That makes me look like a jackass because I was the one going in there, taking him at face value, acting kind, holding his hand and walking him through it like he was a toddler on these topics. And then, wow, in retrospect, would you look
acting nice? See how he words that? Acting nice. He didn't go in there with the intention to, have a honest conversation, treat the guy like a fellow human being and discuss your point of view and have a good faith discussion. He came in there with an agenda and he wanted to try to play Joe Rogan like a fiddle. And by his own, wording of it, hold his hand like a toddler and walk him through his point of view to persuade him, as I'm sure he would say. But really, in all actuality, it's a brainwashing exercise that worked successfully with Kyle, so he just assumes it's going to work fine with Joe Rogan when he does it. The problem is that at this point, everybody's seen the brainwashing program, and if it didn't work, I'm sorry, someone like this idiot is not going to be successful with it on another go-around. It's just not going to work on that person. They have too strong a conviction of character. Sorry. But the problem with, in this case, is your incredibly massive overconfidence in your own everything. I mean, listen to this fucking narcissist go on about how, like, that makes me look like a jack. No, what makes you look like a jackass is this whole spiel you've been talking with this dumb broad with about this incident with Joe Rogan where well, he agreed with me and then he agreed with Ben Shapiro. Yeah, that kind of happens with human beings. They're a little they have differing views. Sometimes they align with multiple different people, and sometimes they conflict even with each other. And you have to work those things out. Imagine that. Imagine the fact that you're not such an ideologue that every single thing you believe doesn't fit nicely in this neat little box that you can put away and say, yep, there's my beliefs. They're lined up 100% perfectly even, and I won't get in trouble now. Like, I don't know what the motivation is. And it's clearly not something that makes you happy, because here you are yelling and screaming about how that evil Joe Rogan just, made you look like an idiot and a jackass when you went on to hold his hand like a toddler and guide him through how great single-payer health care is and how great socialized medicine is and how great all these countries are and how we suck because we don't do those things. There is the possibility that he just disagrees. He could just see where you were coming from. That could potentially be it. I don't want to say for sure because, God knows who am I to question Kyle Kulinski, but I just have to throw that out there because, that's the rationality of a human being who isn't, so self-absorbed they think that all it will take is one conversation with me and I'll have them voting left the rest of their life. I wouldn't be so pompous and arrogant as to believe that I would change someone's mind in that way by just sitting down and, according to Kyle, holding their hand like a toddler and guiding them through my point of view, and therefore they'll believe it too. It's pretty freaking amazing to see on display because and this is exactly the same thing I was just talking about with David Pakman. It's the same thing. They both are so freaking tied to this ideology and are so convinced of its moral superiority to everybody else and everybody else's beliefs that, once again, this is how you believe that if people don't vote the way you vote and think the way you think, then it's not that they're wrong, it's that they're bad people. That's how you end up with that kind of mindset, and that's how you end up with groups like Antifa, who, when they see someone they think is conservative on the street, they all run up, mob him, beat the shit out of him, and according to Andy No, who actually, was inside the group and watched them do what they do, kicked the guy's teeth down his throat on the street, and then laughed at him about it. Literally did that. That's how you end up with people like that. Sick, despicable people. Not even people anymore. Just agents of complete and total absolute chaos and happy about it. It's pretty incredible that this is happening or it has happened. I think people are kind of getting sick and tired of it, though. If you want to know why Trump got elected, look no further than that kind of thing, because that's the problem, Kyle. People are sick and tired of having to act like, yeah, it's fine for my 12-year-old to be told that he's a girl and not a boy, and it's fine if Mexico is allowing, tens of thousands of people to come across the border every day, and it's fine if it's... No, it's not fine. It's not fine that we don't know who is in control of the country. It's not fine that the party screaming about democracy hasn't had the democratic process happen in 8 years since they lost the first time to Trump. And like since then, we had a shitty election with Joe Biden, who supposedly won, even though all the rules got changed at the last minute. That was fun. And since then, we don't even know who's really been in charge. Because, like I said, I gave out the stats earlier. I won't go over it again, but like if that's your idea of functional government, a president that's there about half the time. When he is there, he's not really doing much. He can't do anything really on his own. Most of his aides do all the work. He falls asleep around world leaders. He's a total embarrassment. Why do you think global leaders from France and Mexico and Canada and like all over the world, they're calling Trump? They're calling Trump right now. You know why? Because they know who will be in charge. At least they know that much. They don't. I'm sure they don't know who they should have been calling for the last 4 years, but they sure as hell know who to call now. So anyway, this is almost done. We'll just finish this up and then we'll call it a stream, I think.
Look at that.
Goodbye,
he completely
dude.
flipped. I mean, we were defending him, unfortunately, way too late, right? When people were already on to, I don't know, man, you're saying a little bit more right-wing things here. And we would be like, well, no, look, here's a compilation of all the times Joe Rogan said base things. He argued for universal health care. He argued for free college. He argued for higher minimum wage and this good thing. And I would show that compilation and go, see, I don't know what you guys are talking about. But guess what? When you decide I'm going to endorse Donald Trump after he lied to your face relentlessly for the entire podcast, telling brazen lies, then I'm sorry, all the charity is gone, all the sympathy is gone, and I have to come to a different conclusion now. My conclusion of you could hold these people's hands and walk them through it and talk.
I'm going to pause real quick and point this out. He said nothing. You know, I'm looking for substance. What did Trump lie about? Wow, what did Joe Rogan get wrong? You said that he was saying right-wing things. So what? I don't care if someone says something right-wing. And the thing about it.
Oh yeah, that was from another guy. He's a good compilation creator. Anyway, the point is, like, these people that make this stuff, they're still coping extremely hard with the loss of Kamala Harris, and they're really, I mean, it's really because it was Donald Trump more so than just Kamala Harris losing. They don't understand it. They don't seem to understand why. And even as all the stuff around us is happening, like, you know, you literally have people cheering all this on. You literally have the Chicago residents who are crying out, like, please come to Chicago, Donald Trump, Tom Homan, we need you to get all these illegals out of here. Freaking Chicago. Freaking New York, same thing. I mean, and this is what blows my mind is because, like, those are places that would have been part of the argument about how the insurrectionist Donald Trump shouldn't be elected, you know, not that long ago. But they're watching their citizens all turn on them because they are recognizing that, oh, geez. And here's the thing. I don't think that a lot of them actually even understood what was going on. They just were told something. They believed it. They were going along with what their government said, like they had always done in the past, I'm sure. And it just wasn't working anymore. Now, they should have been able to, I'm not trying to make an excuse for them. They should have been able to think on their own. They're elected as, you know, a governor or a mayor of a city, and they should be able to make those decisions. But the thing is that it's part of their own party, and you want to give them the benefit of the doubt. And then the culprit for this is the real rub. Culprit in this situation is the media at large, not just corporate media, but people like this on YouTube, especially for the younger crowd and for, you know, some of the more people around their own age. These people who can speak to them in a way that makes more sense to them. It makes sense to them because they're they're meeting them on their terms and at their level, but they're no different at all than the same propagandists that are on mainstream media. They just have the facade to say that we're independent media. But what exactly does that mean? Because at this point, he's trying to say that Joe's not. Well, of course, Joe's not technically independent. What do you mean by independent media? Because he's not supported by a major corporation. He was paid by Spotify to do a show for X amount of time. But he doesn't do ad reads in the middle of his show. There's no commercials in the middle of his show. So what do you mean by independent? It's a word that means zero. He's trying to imply that there's some sort of opinion that's been bought and paid for, when in reality, you can look at Joe's channel and look at his content and see the incredibly diverse amount of people, like actual diversity, not leftist diversity, where you have a Ben Shapiro and you have a Kyle Kulinski. You have a Matt Walsh and you have a not Michael Eric Dyson, not that guy, no. Neil deGrasse Tyson, that guy. Mr. To Require, that fun individual. I can't wait to. I'm gonna poke fun about with him at one point, but in fact, I don't even know. Do I have that? I don't think so. No, no, I don't have that one. I do have something almost as well. Not almost as good. It is as good, but it's just different. But let me see if it's. Oh yeah.
She later tweeted, without any hint of sarcasm, that, and I quote, "There exists no white supremacist group in the history of America that has taken more black lives than Planned Parenthood."
Oh my goodness. Anyway, these are people that can hear some perspective, and they will immediately tell you whether it's right or wrong. They don't need to look into it. They don't need to study it. They don't need to research the history of it. They just need to check out what the accepted leftist perspective is on it, and then they'll tell you what to think. I would love to play this song right now, and but the show's been going on for a while. I'll just say, if you guys have a chance, there's a song by Bad Religion. It's called "Come Join Us." It fits perfectly for this kind of group, because I've seen Bad Religion 3 times, and they put on a hell of a show. But I only saw them play "Come Join Us" once, and I did see a DVD actually where they did a live event that was recorded. And they did the same thing at that event, though. And they always introduced the song in a similar way, pretty much the same way almost. They say something along the lines of the 3 most frightening words in the English language when put together and said to you. Come join us. And it's true. Yeah, I mean, it is true, because like when you have somebody who is so happily and excitedly kind of cheering you on to be a part of something that they're bringing you into, and then they're explaining it to you with all this excitement, you better make sure that in some way, shape, or form, there's a piece of you that is that's in that ideology, and it's not just about their own belief, because that's how people end up, cutting their dicks off and poisoning themselves. Like, I can't remember the name of the cult that did that science cult that did that in the 80s, but people do some weird shit when they're under these sorts of strange beliefs, and that's just one example. But here's another one: an entire country that is supposedly technologically advanced and almost for sure, if not definitely, the most advanced civilization on the planet, suddenly believes that a virus that came from a market that sells animals in a faraway country overseas, where that virus escaped from that market, had it come to our country, and because of that, we all need to stay inside and not go out, wear masks that are just regular cloth masks, not send your kids to school, not go outside, not go to the funeral of your loved ones, not go to not go to church, not go to work, not go to anything, put your entire life on hold. And they start off by saying, 15 days to slow the spread. Oh, okay. Oh, now it's a month. Well, now it's 3 months. Well, now it's half a year. Now it's a year. Now we can't. It's like, well, they opened up Walmart, though. I mean, it's like, it's the same thing. And then for just one final closing example, that's why you can have a guy who is so absolutely sure of himself that he can state on live television that when you attack me, you're actually attacking science itself, because I represent science. Nothing about that statement is in line with any kind of scientific perspective that an actual researcher would hold, because that is so far removed. That's like saying I am Jell-O. Like that, it means nothing. It means nothing. It has no substance. It doesn't mean anything except for what he's hoping it is implied to mean, which is listen to what I say or else. And that's what Kyle's saying. That's what David's saying. And that's what the entire Democrat Party was saying, because they're that afraid of Donald Trump, they didn't want him to win. I've been wanting to do this episode actually for a while. I just was compelled to do it today because I saw that video of David Pakman, and I saw the video I had of Kyle still sitting around. I was like, you know what? I'm doing that one today, because even though there's some things they talked about recently, more or less those kind of got squashed. And it once again reminded me too that the news cycle talks about things sometimes that it's the same thing. They get you worked up in believing that, oh no. And that was the thing with Laura Loomer too, was that she was one of the people that had said that we can't have H-1B visas coming to this country anymore at all. And it's like, well, wait a minute. Like, that's a totally different thing than people illegally crossing the border. This is like a very tightly controlled, strict program that brings in a very small amount of incredibly highly qualified, intelligent, and people in STEM fields for the most part to do things that we really need to have done. And it's because we can't find someone who is more qualified in our own country at that point that they need to bring people in from a country that actually, we're not talking about just some dude who didn't get any kind of education whatsoever and ran across the border. We're talking about people who have to fly in and have to be, it's a very lengthy process. And I get, once again, I said this last show and I'll say it again, that doesn't mean that right away when Trump gets into office, the first priority is H-1B visa immigration, excuse me. It just means that, once we have the crisis back under control, hopefully, then we should allow that method of immigration to continue, because it's one of the ways that we are able to stay as competitive as possible in a world where everything is getting increasingly threatening. And it's the same. I mentioned this in the last, and I'll just close with this. I mentioned this in the last episode too. I said, if you remember what Trump said about immigration, one of the first quotes he mentioned that was infamously used against him, but actually is pretty relevant at this point. Mexico, they're not sending their best and brightest. They're sending rapists and drug dealers and murderers. Well, we've got quite a few of those in the country right now. So if a country is going to send its best and brightest, the implication I was hearing from Trump at that point was that, yeah, we don't mind people like that coming to the country legally. And I don't think it should be any surprise that Trump would be supportive of having that kind of immigration, because he said it right there in that same clip. The problem is that the left want it to be a zero-sum game and a complete all-or-nothing sort of setup. And they want you to think that way too. And don't do that. Just think of everyone as an individual case, which is the way the law is supposed to also work, by the way. I think everybody will do just fine. And if the left actually learned that lesson, that would be fantastic. But I'm not going to hold my breath on that one. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I will be back tomorrow. Man, we went long today, didn't we? But thanks for watching. I will talk to you then. Until then, take care of yourselves. Have a fantastic afternoon or evening, wherever you are. And have a great night. Talk to you tomorrow. Peace.
Now, I can't read it. There's no words on it.
Okay. Sure.
There's no words there. To play us out. What does that mean? To play us out. What is?
For critics.
I don't know what that means, to play us out.